All right, looks like we're about to get started here. So, welcome everyone out. I'm joined today by my wonderful boy dogs who will hopefully be good and just sit there and be quiet today. um, but we've got a best of three here for Heroes Lounge starting any moment now. That is going to be between two wonderful Division 3 teams. Division 3 being mid-low kind of level of play. I would say averaging high gold to low plat, maybe mid-plat, as far as the level of play that we're expecting to see here. So these teams are both strong. ProBUs is a veteran team from NGS. They haven't played much in Heroes Lounge though. So I think this is their first season in Heroes Lounge, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But then on the other side, you've got Full Meta Jacket, who they've played in Heroes Lounge and in NGS. So both teams have been around the competitive scene for a while. Both very strong teams for this Division 3 matchup. In fact, we can even go ahead take a quick look at the stats here. As you can see, to my side, ProBUs right now, number 6 in Division 3. They're 2-0. They've won one of their series. They won 2-0. One they won 2-1. So they're sitting at 4-1 on the map score. So a really strong start for their first 2 weeks in the season so far. Full Meta Jacket also doing pretty well. They're sitting at number 9. They're 1-1. They won one series 2-0, and then they lost the other, but they did manage to take a map during that series. So they're sitting at 3-2 on map score. So a very respectable score for them as well. So I'm expecting this series to be definitely highly contested. I would not be surprised whatsoever if we ended up seeing a third map between these two teams, as both have been doing pretty well so far in the season. Both of them play pretty standard. They like to have good front lines. They kind of just stick to meta, maybe having a few cheesier picks, but they focus on drafting more for the map and around their own comfort. So I expect to see just some nice solid meta stuff, although that being said, did have a nice patch yesterday, so there could be potentially a few interesting things to spice it up a little bit. Alright, so we have our maps picked and banned just in time. Perfect. So I can swap over and show you those. So ProBUs is going to be the left team for tonight. The coin flip was decided that Full Meta Jacket would get first pick, and ProBUs would get the map pick for the first map of the series. So ProBUs elected to ban Dragonshire and Tomb of the Spider Queen with their bans, whereas Full Meta Jacket decided to ban out Volskaya Foundry and Battlefield of Eternity, meaning that we are going to end up being, as you hear the lobby invite sound there potentially, we're going to end up being on Alterac Pass as selected here by ProBUs. Alright, awesome, and I am in the lobby. I'm going to go ahead and get the players from these teams put in as quickly as I can. I gotta switch a few of them up. We've got two pretty decent rosters, it looks like here. Oh, I see. That's I was confused for a second, and it was because we had members of one team on the wrong side. So let me fix that real quick. So I'll take it back to me for a second. Looking at this map, we're going to look for really just good wave clear and good poke. You want to be able to push out waves before the objective or push out your waves with the objective so that you can have a strong pushing force or defend well against the force, as well as you need to be able to take camps really well. The siege camp or null camp on this map pushes down the middle lane, and it is the shortest cooldown on a camp of any camp in the game, as that is only, I believe, a minute 30 seconds for the cooldown on that. So it comes up insanely fast. It's up constantly, basically. So that's going to be something that we're going to look for from these teams. Look for that kind of camp clear And then look for poke, because this objective, it takes a long time to channel. 30 seconds for the first one, and then going up by 10 seconds each time after. So the team will need to have good self-sustain as well as ability to poke onto the objective to try and force the other team back if they do manage to get the channel. Should be getting our last few members in here any moment now. Looks like we do, I believe, have the members for each team here. So should hopefully be getting started any moment now. I'm excited for this series. These are two teams that I have seen play a lot and that I have seen show up in a lot of leagues, but I've never gotten to really experience it firsthand. And so that's something that I'm excited to see here, as we should hopefully be getting into the series any moment now. I'm going to go ahead and give the teams I'm going to try and get this thing off my keyboard, which is on my keyboard. One moment. Alright, got that off. Alright, we should be getting into our draft any moment now. Here on Alterac Pass. Oh, now one team's saying 1 second, so it is going to be a moment longer. But yeah, so one thing that I'm also interested to see, both of these teams have played pretty varying front lines, so I'm interested to see what offlaners we get. Are we going to get a global focus here? Are we going to see Dahako or even the offlane ETC with Stage Dive? Another potential thing that we could see is something like Malthael, using On a Pale Horse to get those quick rotations in. A bit less strong on this map, as you can't really double soak with him as well. But then considering the patch recently, who knows, maybe we'll see Zool. Zool has been buffed a lot. I know there are currently some bugs, but he is not banned as of yet, so he is, I assume, good to play. So that's something that I'll be interested to see. Is it just going to get banned out? Is it going to get picked? Who knows? And with that, we're going to jump right on into the draft here on Alterac Pass. So like I said, we're going to look for mages with poke or sustained damage. You could see Hanzo coming in. He kind of can flex a little bit between the playstyle of a mage or a sustained DPS. But from bans, are we going to see still a Deathwing ban? That's a potential. He has not been changed in the most recent patch, so if the teams considered him ban-worthy previously, we could expect potentially to see that again here. Like I said, are we going to see a Zool ban or a ban onto maybe some other hero who one of these teams felt was become very strong since the patch that recently happened? That's what we're going to be looking for during this drafting phase, as well as, like I said, the strong poke and wave clear focus. And it is going to be a Deathwing ban, so even from the first pick, Full Meta Jacket just doesn't want to have to deal with that. It commands how the draft works in so many ways. It forces both teams to really draft around it, and they just don't want to have to play that game, so they're going to just ban it out. On the blue team, could see a number of things. Like I said, both these teams seem to have pretty strong hero pools, so I'm not sure if there's going to be any huge target bans, but we are going to see an ETC ban come out. That makes sense. It's something where it can be played in the off lane, it can be played as the main tank. I know Full Meta Jacket is comfortable playing it as the main tank, and really if it's a comfort pick and it's something that can be super powerful, then might as well just take it away. So they are going to go ahead and do that. Looking at another ban here from Full Meta Jacket, we might see a ban maybe onto a mage if they've done some research, or no, it's going to be the Anduin. He can definitely be annoying for certain compositions. If you're trying to run a blow-up comp or something along those lines, especially because of his ability to just pull someone out and make it so that all of your efforts are negated just with his trait. Otherwise, he does have really strong sustained healing, which can also be very powerful around these objective fights, so that's always something to be aware of as well. And then it is going to be the Zul ban. After his rework, lots of people seem to be thinking that he is quite strong, and so he's going to go ahead and get banned out here by ProBUs. And that means we're on to our first pick here for Alterac Pass on the side of Full Meta Jacket. What is it going to be the priority on? Is it going to be a global? Is it going to be... I was going to say, is it going to be Poke? And it looks like it is going to be Barber. Going to go ahead and pick up Li Ming. Very strong for poking onto the objective on this map. And a really quick pick up here onto Johanna for 8-bit and Sylvanas for Aruba. Sylvanas considered one of the strongest heroes in the game right now, especially at higher levels of play. In part due to her trait and in part due to the fact that she just has insane team fighting potential. So they're going to grab up Sylvanas as well as the super solid Johanna. We're going to see Anna coming in. Very dangerous combined with Li Ming for that nano boost potential, as well as Muradin, who can be a very aggressive tank and look to set up combos with his Stormbolt after a Dwarf Toss there. So looking at bans, we could see a ban onto the off lane or onto a sustained DPS here potentially. Maybe trying to get rid of a sustained DPS with a bit more camp clear. And they are. They're going to get rid of Greymane. That makes sense. Li Ming is not very strong at camp clear or wave clear, so Greymane would really help patch that up as he is one of the sustained DPS with the strongest camp and wave clear. On the other side, we might see here a healer ban. They've picked up their own for Full Meta Jacket, so they might try and get rid of yet another, as they already did ban out Anduin against ProBUs. And they are. They're going to get rid of Stukov. I like that ban. Stukov has pretty decent poke, and the silence can definitely be annoying there, as well as the potential for making plays with virulent reaction. Two more picks here now for ProBUs. Be interesting to see what they go for. Are they going to leave the healer until last? Because obviously at this point, no more bans are going to come. But no, they're going to pick it up now. And it's going to be Deckard, a hero who I personally love a lot, even though he doesn't see that much play anymore. I think he's very powerful on objectives like this, where you get to really set up ahead of time and you know where the objective is going to be. And then Jaina for Duck Rogers, just solid wave clear, solid mage, easy to play, makes sense. Nyquil says, second ban Zul meta, let's go. I'm down for it. I'm excited to see Zul come up in the meta, especially see if he potentially pops up in the Div-S playoffs this weekend. I think he's a hero that I had a lot of fun with when I was very new to the game, and so I'm excited to see he's kind of meta here. We had Leoric and Lunara picked up, both solid picks for Full Meta Jacket, and then ProBUs going to finish off their draft with Thrall. I like that. Thrall is really good at poking. He's solid at wave clear, and his ultimate abilities can just be so powerful. Earthquake especially in the late game. If you're able to get to 20, it can single-handedly win team fights with the upgrade there. So that's going to be our two drafts heading into this first map. I gotta say, I really like both of these drafts a lot. Both of them picking heroes that I have a lot of fun with. I love playing Lunara, I love playing Deckard, but I think if I had to give it to one team, I think I like ProBUs' draft here a bit more. And as far as the standings go, granted they're week 2 standings, but ProBUs is so far, or is the favorite so far in the standings, so it'll be interesting to see if they're able to pull it out here. That being said, let's go ahead and get into the first game, as we're going to have, for ProBUs, Duck Rogers on Jaina, Lulu on Deckard with the nice toy horse and the toy Deckard skin, Aruba on the Sylvanas, 8-bit on Johanna, and Secret Asian Man on Thrall. Against them, for Full Meta Jacket, we have Sergeant Scoops on Anna, Runtime Logic on Muradin, Souza on Lunara, Barber on Li Ming, and finishing it off, Juggerab on Leoric. Gonna go ahead and get into the mid lane here. Looks like the offlaners are already gonna start heading off. Although Thrall potentially looking to stick around. Lots of quests for both teams here. We're going to see Unfurling Shadows chosen for Sylvanas, so she's going to be looking to brawl a little bit and stack that up. As well as Perfect Storm for Muradin, so again, another talent that looking to brawl, looking to stack it up and get some higher damage output. As a nice combo from Lulu on the Deckard is going to go ahead and chunk runtime logic, but he's going to be able to get healed right back up thanks to Ana. We're going to have Jaina, looks like, meeting up against the Leoric here. Interesting solo lane matchup. Maybe just hoping to use that range to do a little bit better. Nyquil you bring up an alright point. How does Deckard save from a nano boosted Li Ming and an Entomb? I think definitely he's going to struggle a little bit. Once he gets level 13 and has the super healing potions, those do heal for about 1300 apiece, I believe it is, at level 13. So I think there is a good bit of save potential, especially with Stay a While and Listen. If you time that right, you can just negate the entire nano boost. We're going to go ahead and see both teams going for their camps. Looks like it is going to be maybe a little bit quicker for the blue team here, as they did send 3 members, whereas we only saw 2 members rotating from the side of Full Meta Jacket. So we'll have to see if how that works out. Sometimes teams prefer to wait it out a little bit because then you'll be able to defend it right here around your gate, which makes it a lot easier to defend. But if you are too slow, the enemy team can push in really hard, especially if they have something like a Sylvanas who is rotated in with the rest of the team and is starting to lock down those towers to help out. And level 4 isn't here yet for the red team, so we aren't going to see Nature's Calling for Lunara just yet, so it's going to take them a little bit to clear these out, but they're going to be able to, thanks largely to their own null camp coming in. And we are going to see Nature's Calling for Lunara. That's a lot of mercenary and structure damage. Also, Neil Peasants here coming in for Leoric, so that's going to be a lot of extra siege damage for the team on the side of Full Meta Jacket. Looking at stacks so far, Thrall doing pretty well, sitting at 10 on Echo of the Elements, and 17 stacks already for the Unfurling Shadows there for Sylvanas. It'll take me forever to learn Sylvanas' talents. I do not play her much at all. One interesting thing here, we do have Laws of Hope for Johanna. Lots of people consider Hold Your Ground to be the go-to for her, but some players do stick out with the Laws of Hope here, and we're going to see that. We'll have to see if that works out, if she's going to be able to withstand the burst that is available for the red team. And as you can see, the timers on this camp so short, the blue team already getting theirs out again, whereas the red teams just came back up. So that's kind of one of the things that, while you can wait a little bit to make it a bit easier on the defense, can also really punish you, because now the blue team looking like they might potentially be looking to push in a little bit here onto the objective. We've got Runtime Logic and Barber sitting around, but that's going to be 2v4, so they're going to have to jump on out of there. And it looks like the first channel is going to start here for ProBUs, as they do have their camp pushing in the mid lane as well. The offlaners sitting around up top. Level 7 is actually going to come in a bit quicker here for Full Meta Jacket, as they were soaking while the blue team was taking their camp and focusing onto the objective. But not sure if it's going to be enough to save them here, though it does look like Sergeant Scoop's going to be able to get the channel, and 8-Bit taking a lot of poke. I did not see if they used Laws of Hope, but Laws of Hope is going to be helping them to stay up as level 7s do come in, and it looks like talents are all pretty standard. We do actually have Seeker here, a magic missile build coming in for Li Ming, really looking to just blow up whoever gets hit in the Entomb with that Seeker damage. We'll have to see if they can pull it off. That is a very high skill talent there. Not to say that Calamity isn't, but a huge Haunting Wave and W combo coming in from Aruba on the Sylvanas. That's going to blow up Lunara and get first blood. And the channel again going to go over to ProBUs, and this time it's going to be the full objective. I don't think there's any way they save this one, as Full Meta Jacket has just had Juggerab on the Leoric, soaking between top and mid lane to get them a little bit of an XP lead. They were at about half a level, but the kill onto Lunara did help a little bit in pushing that XP lead back a bit. Now using Sylvanas trait to push in with 4 members on the bottom lane. We're going to see ProBUs taking out most of the gate here already before the cavalry even arrives. So they're looking potentially to try and take the fort here, although it is going to be 4v4 for the defense. Runtime logic positioning for a little bit of a flank, it looks like, but probably going to have to just jump out again, and he does. A nice double sleep there from Sergeant Scoops. Not going to be much follow-up for it, unfortunately, for Full Meta Jacket. Leoric did his best there to clear up the middle lane a bit, but he has to meet Thrall. So it looks like with Sylvanas' trait back up already, we are going to see this fort fall. Both of the tanks taking pretty substantial damage, as the objective is finally going to get cleared up here in the bottom lane. The towers clearing up the mid lane, took about the wall, and pretty similar damage in the top lane. So a really solid first push here for ProBUs. We're going to be looking at level 10s here pretty soon. Oh, as I'm dropping a couple frames, unfortunately. Looks like we're good, though. We do have Give him the Axe, as you would probably expect here from the Muradin, as well as Choking Pollen, just another kind of more burst-focused build here from the Lunara. So really looking for that level 10 potential with the Entomb, with the Stormbolt, to blow people up. As expected, I was hoping to see this. We're going to see Stay a While and Listen, as well as Ring of Frost for a potential follow-up to that. We've got the Blessed Shield, the Sundering for just some additional CC, and Wailing Arrow. So lots of really strong abilities here. I think the only one I might have expected a bit differently was maybe Earthquake as opposed to the Sundering there, but I can see maybe wanting to avoid some potential asymmetry with the Stay a While and Listen there. As I was talking, we saw the Blessed Shield come out, got a kill onto Juggerab there. Lunara also falling solo against Thrall in the top lane, as he did use Sundering to secure that kill. And a push now coming into the mid lane with the Null Camp. Only 3 alive here for the red team as they're trying to defend this one. But it is not going to be enough. The possession from Sylvanas just helping to endlessly allow that wave to push in, and they're going to take the second fort of the game on the side of ProBUs. The next objective will be spawning up here pretty shortly. It looks like the blue team potentially looking for a boss play here in the bottom lane. They've got 3 members here and Sylvanas nearby, but no, looks like Sylvanas is potentially going to be going over to the siege camp, as the red team seems to be a bit suspicious of something happening, but maybe just looking for a pick onto Thrall or to get onto the objective. So both, as the second I look away, assuming they're not going to do anything, no, they do actually go for the boss here. Seeker is going to help them to do that significantly faster, and it looks like, yeah, the blue team was just kind of wandering around, not really suspecting anything, and it's going to be, but no, Johanna does get on the point, maybe not a free boss. Yes, and the boss is actually taken by ProBUs, stolen away. The Nano Boost came out onto Barber, but the Stay a While and Listen helped to negate some of that, as the Ring of Frost ends up securing the kill onto Ana. Both Muradin and Lunara getting super low, gonna have to back out, and that's gonna be a kill and a stolen boss for ProBUs. I thought for sure that Full Meta Jacket had that, but in the end, they ended up being able to take it from the side of ProBUs, and they're also gonna, looks like, start the channel onto the objective here. So really, what looks like a lucky play and a bit of a break there for Full Meta Jacket is actually turning out, unfortunately, going against them a good bit here. Juggernaut gonna have to use the Ghost to get out, barely surviving, gonna end up getting caught there by the Thrall, and Muradin also needing to be careful and run away, as Li Ming, backing in a bush, managed to escape there as well. Level 13 coming in for the side of ProBUs. We are going to see the Cold Embrace for the reduced armor there, going to be even more bursty, as well as Icy Vein, so some really, really huge potential here from the level 13 talents on the side of ProBUs. We're going to have to see what we get from the side of Full Meta Jacket, as Spectral Leech looking for maybe an auto attack build here, and Entomb onto Secret Asian Man, as well as the Nano Boost. but it's all going to get countered by the Blessed Shield into the Wailing Arrow, and then a Ring of Frost and Sundering to follow it up. That's going to be 3 kills with only Jaina falling in response. The trade's just doing so well. ProBUs doing a great job of really countering these engages that look so dangerous with the Nano Boost and the Entomb. Another thing that's interesting, we do have Purifying Darts here, removing roots and slows. I guess does make sense going against the Thrall and the Deckard, both of them having roots there. But maybe, I think the stun removal there could have been really useful against the Stay a While and against the Blessed Shield. So we'll have to see how that turns out for them though. As with all forts down here, the objective is pushing in once again, and 80 plus stacks here on the Sylvanas. You see how much damage she's doing. She is chunking away at the heroes here. As level 16 also coming in for ProBUs, they've been doing a great job keeping up with Soak, and the structure advantage and the just advantage from pushing in and keeping these waves soaked, as well as the kills, has gotten them a 2-level lead at this point in the game. And they take the keep really easily as a result. As my dog is snoring in the background. Hopefully that isn't being heard, but yep. It looks like it is going to just be the 1 keep, so a pretty solid defense all things considered. The lanes were pushed in and they were down a really big talent tier, so being able to only lose 1 keep there means that Full Meta Jacket is very much still in this game. They definitely have a chance. They do need to be careful though, as we have the level 16s coming in. Holy Renewal, as you would often see, paired with Laws of Hope there. The Herodic Staff, for a bit of a micro stun there. Looks like the blue team, ProBUs, is going to go ahead and start this boss. It is scouted out by Lunara, but I'm not sure that the red team can do much of anything. They see that it's already at half health, and yeah, they're just going to keep soaking. They say, there's nothing we can do, we just got to use this opportunity to push out our lanes a bit, and hopefully we defend it with level 16 talents here, as Lunara and Leoric soaking top and mid should hopefully be able to get those for them in time. Looks like Leoric going to have to stay for 1 more wave and able to secure that, as possession from Sylvanas coming out to really just help push this in even further. And with the trait from Sylvanas, I expect this to be a really just devastating push here. Gonna have to be careful on the side of Full Meta Jacket, because if things go wrong here, this could potentially be an end with 2 keeps down. If the boss doesn't lose too much health. Trait coming out for Sylvanas there. Huge, again, another just with these Shadow Dagger combos from Sylvanas are so destructive. The cleanse comes out onto runtime logic, but it's not enough to save him, and Juggerov gets blown up too. The Stay a Whiles and the Ring of Frost are working so well together. That's going to be 3 kills as Ana gets caught as well. And Barber just not able to finish these kills. The counter engages are just so potent from the side of ProBUs. And even Lulu not getting finished off here as Souza goes for the double leaping strike. Duck Rogers also going to get saved. Got a little bit iffy there, but it looks like with 10,000 health on this core and only Li Ming to defend, this might be game. That being said, Li Ming does have the best potential to defend this of any solo hero, as she can potentially get those resets, but it's not going to matter. She does manage to kill Johanna, but it's going to end up being game number 1 going in favor of ProBUs. Oh. Wrong thing. Looking at the match summary, wow, I think both team compositions really had potential here, but the Deckard shutting down the engages from Full Meta Jacket was so potent. They never really were able to get a fight that they wanted. The Nano Boost felt like it was never really getting the value. We did see, if you look at the talents here, Fireflies coming in, as well as Cannoneer for Li Ming, so really looking for the Q and auto attack style, trying to blow up one person who is locked down, but it always felt like the person who got locked down wasn't quite falling fast enough, and the sleep followed up by the Ring of Frost, the Wailing Arrow, the Blessed Shield, just so much burst and AoE from ProBUs allowed them to take the win on that first map. So, looking at that, what I would expect here is, well, first of all, we're going to see what map gets picked. But I think we need to see a bit of a different approach here from Full Meta Jacket. It seems like they wanted to go for that kind of single-person blow-up comp, but it definitely was not working out. They saw that ProBUs had the tools to deal with that. So I want to see a kind of similar game plan. I want to see maybe get rid of the Sylvanas, maybe steal the Jaina away, but focus on kind of more AoE, kind of not necessarily wombo, but try and make ProBUs try to be the aggressors, because every time Full Meta Jacket was looking for aggression there because they needed to in order to get those picks, it was met by the perfect response. So try and switch the book a little bit here. Say, ProBUs, it's your turn to make the engages, and we're gonna punish you for trying to engage on us this time. But we will have to see what ends up happening here. There's still no news so far on what the next map is going to be, unfortunately. I can go ahead and pop over to the maps. As you can see, ProBUs picking the first map for the series and winning it. And we are going to have first pick selected by Full Meta Jacket, so they're not feeling that there's a specific map of the remaining few that they would be most confident on. All of the remaining maps actually pretty big maps. Towers of Doom and Infernal Shrines being the smallest, I think, there, but really all very macro focused. Perhaps even better off for Full Meta Jacket, as I feel like they did a really good job keeping up in Soak and trying to play a bit of a longer game there. It just didn't end up working out for them because of how quickly ProBUs really pushed the objective there every single time. Lots of the time you see all-track objectives not happening, at least until maybe level 10, but we did see some really fast objectives there. And it is going to be Infernal Shrines selected here by ProBUs. So we're going to have to go ahead and see if this is the map where we're going to see Full Meta Jacket turn it around. There is definitely a lot of potential for AoE-based team fighting here, especially since that does allow you to help to control the shrines. But that was something when it came to AoE team fighting that was much stronger for the side of ProBUs. So will it get answered in bans? Will there be a bit of a counter strategy where they take some heroes away, or they pick some heroes that I'm not anticipating to deal with it? We will have to see, as we should hopefully be getting into our match any moment now. Giving the teams my R so they know I'm ready. Just gonna wait a moment. They're strategizing, they're preparing. It'll be interesting to see if ProBUs shakes it up at all. They obviously were very comfortable with what they played, but I would expect that they would expect to have some of those picks banned out. And we'll see if that is true, getting into Infernal Shrines, the draft here. The bans were very long and thought out. It'll be interesting to see if they stay that way or if they're going to be some quick target bans here. I don't think the Sylvanas makes it through, and I think the Johanna has to be an early pickup here for Full Meta Jacket if they aren't going to ban it, because the Blessed Shields were on point from 8-bit that game. Just really doing a great job of shutting down the engages and starting the counter engages for ProBUs. That being said, though, we are going to see Full Meta Jacket sticking with the Deathwing ban. So we're going to see, maybe we're going to see just similar bans. Granted, I talk about all of these bans of targeting, but there were some serious meta pick and meta ban decisions there in the first game, which it might make sense to see him go again. Night Gold pointing out, it's a great Zul map. I agree. This is probably Zul's strongest map. So I would expect to see him addressed probably in the bans or picks again. This is also Deckard Cain's best map. So will we see him? We're going to see the Jaina banned out. The Ring of Frost definitely ended up being the thing that killed them a lot of the time. The roots really securing them down to be bursted by the rest of the team, making it easy for Sylvanas, and we are going to see Zul banned by the side of ProBUs. And as I kind of expected, we're going to see the early Johanna pick. They don't want to let it through. It destroyed them last game. Really, all of the players on the side of ProBUs doing an excellent job in the first game to shut down full meta jacket. So we'll see if they're able to do it again here on this map. They don't have the Johanna, but they do have the Sylvanas, and that was something that I was a bit concerned about getting through. As well as they've got a Gul'dan, another very strong AoE based mage. I think a bit harder to play than Jaina, just a bit. You got to manage your health and target your corruption to try and get the most value you can out of that. But definitely a lot of potential here for really tearing apart the team on the side of full meta jacket, as we're going to see Anduin coming out from Sergeant Scoops and the Alarak looking for, again, aggressive plays here. But this time, maybe pulling, instead of looking for diving into the enemy team and getting someone with the Entomb, they're gonna make ProBUs come to them, looking for the pulls with Alarak. Gonna see a Kael'thas ban, makes sense. This is his strongest map as well. Infernal Shrine seems to be everyone's strongest map. But no, with the fire bombs onto the shrine minions, he is much more devastating on this map, in my opinion, than on any other map. Falling Sword Light Bomb, another potential thing that could come out. Nyquil calling all of the draft potential. And we're going to see the Stukov ban again. So again, not wanting to deal with the silence, especially on the more point control based map. So, 2 more picks here any moment now for ProBUs. Last time, they did grab their tank a bit earlier, but we saw, I think, a healer and a DPS here. We are going to see the healer, and we're going to see potentially the main tank. It is played by 8-Bit, who played the main tank last game. Of course, Blaze, a hero that can be played in the main tank or the off lane, more often so in the latter. As well as an Ariel here. So really relying on Aruba or Duck Rogers, but I would expect it to be Aruba here, to keep up the energy, to keep up the team during the fight. Although they should potentially have Bunker to help with that as well.
Here we go again.
And we're going to see Chromie and Dahaka. I gotta say, full meta jacket, pulling out some fun heroes. I love Dahaka. And I love Chromie, not necessarily on this map, as they are both quite skill shot based, but which can get interrupted by the Shrine minions, but we'll have to see if it works out for them, as Leoric, the final pickup here on the side of ProBUs. And you know what? I see there's people in chat. I gotta try this out. I gotta remember how this works. Who wins? ProBUs or full meta jacket? And we're gonna set it for 1 minute duration. See who chat thinks is gonna win. Is it gonna be the ProBUs coming through with another pretty similar comp as far as the execution goes? You've got the lockdown with Leoric. Blaze can set it up with some big jet propulsions, and then you've got the blow up with Gul'dan and Sylvanas. On the other side, another more pick-based comp. So both teams playing to what they feel they're strong with here. But we're going to see who gets to pull it off in this second map. Starting off with ProBUs, 8-Bit, not playing Johanna, as I forgot to update that. Good job, me. So, few of the heroes there are going to be wrong, unfortunately. I'm not sure if hitting this again will have it rerun it. But we're going to have 8-Bit on the Blaze, Secret Asian Man on the Leoric, Aruba again on the Destructive Sylvanas, Duck Rogers on the Gul'dan, and Lulu on the Ariel for ProBUs. On the other side for full meta jacket, we've got Juggerob on the Dahaka, Souza on the Alarak, Sergeant Scoops playing the Anduin, looking for the pulls, Barber on the Chromie, already freezing and locking down 8-Bit, who's getting dragged and followed up as runtime logic on the Johanna, eating the damage to protect, but not quite going to get it. The poll ends, and we have 2 out of 3 in favor for Full Meta Jacket. So, looking for all 3 games in this series. I like it. I would love to see all 3 games in this series. Looking at Echoed Corruption here for the Gul'dan, already sitting at 7 stacks, so getting a lot there in the mid lane. And then we do have the Deep Breathing here, so more W-focused build for Chromie. Makes sense on this map as it is much harder to land those Qs, which is what you might normally see here. And then again, we do have Unfurling Shadows for Sylvanas. Like I said, gonna take me a little bit to get those talents down. As both teams go into camps early, runtime logic checks to see that they're doing it. But both teams really just playing apart from each other. 8-bit and runtime logic hardly even hitting each other, just focusing on the wave clear here. As it looks like Leoric potentially already looking for a bit of double soak here. He's going to get harassed by Souza and Sergeant Scoops though for trying to do that. In fact, the majority of the red team starting to rotate up, but all of the blue team now in the mid lane for the side of ProBUs. And it looks like there is going to be better clear here, thanks to that, for the blue team, as they're going to be able to keep their camp alive for the moment and push it in a little bit more. Gul'dan getting some nice stacks there, sitting already at 12, which is insane for this early into the game. Chromie using the time trap to make sure that she doesn't get rotated on, but again we see the possession coming out, and that's going to really empower the pushes again. We saw it help a lot on the last map in getting those pushes going strong. If you look at the map here, we are going to have a Mortar Shrine in the top lane for our first objective. So we're going to see ProBUs already looking for their camp, since they don't worry too much about timing it here, but it is going to end up actually probably coming out about at that time. But we're going to see the adaptation here as the red team, Full Meta Jacket, going to look for the bottom siege camp to push in during the objective. That's something that I really like to see, adapting based on where the objective is going to show up. And if that's left alone, which it is going to get cleared here by Sylvanas, it would do a lot of damage. But as they're stuck here, the red team should be able to get a bit of a lead on the objective, although it looks like they're opting to do their bruiser camps as well otherwise. Juggerov actually taking a good bit of poke. I'll be interested to see if we have him back and then maybe go to the bottom lane and then use his global to come up, try and get some value with said global. As it looks like the red team is happy to just focus on clearing this lane out and get it pushing in their favor to start it off. Only going to give away a couple on the shrine there. We're going to see the Anderhall Anomaly as well as Mobius Loop here for Chromie. I gotta turn that off when I'm casting the scroll for where your mouse is. But talents looking pretty usual here. Of course, having the Show of Force and Applied Force for Alarak, as they are going to get level 7 earlier here for Full Meta Jacket, and actually doing a lot of damage here. The drag onto 8-bit on the Blaze pops the trait, but it's not going to be enough. Even though runtime logic is completely out of mana, they're going to be able to secure the kill, and that should give them enough of an advantage to secure this first objective, I would imagine. And we do see Leoric already just going to soak as a result of that. As it looks like they are going to send Tahaka off to soak a little bit to deal with that. But it looks like a little bit of an XP lead here going to be afforded to the blue team, as the Mortar Punisher is secured by Full Meta Jacket. We're going to have to see what they can do with it. They do push out the wave to push in with it as well, and it looks like they are looking for this sidewall for some potential aggression alongside the Punisher. Souza looking for it, not quite finding it. So it looks like they are going to probably just get about the wall here. You do need to back up here. Souza now tanking the tower shots. Runtime logic super far in. They need to be careful. This Punisher is almost down. And runtime logic is taking a good bit of damage. But it looks like both teams going to be able to be fine. About half of the fort, a third of the fort here, taken down, as the offlaners have just been continuing the double soak this entire time. Secret Asian Man uses his Wraith Walk. Not going to get pulled by the Alarak, as he did make it into the bush there and they're going to leave him be. As both teams, it looks like, going to immediately go for their camps here. One important thing to note is that first kill, as well as the, looks like 1 stack onto Show of Force, is going to give 5 sadism over to Alarak, and he's going to look to continue to get more sadism through the game, which he will lose if he dies. So definitely needs to be protected and kept alive if he wants to be able to make some big plays towards the late game. Going to instantly clear out in the mid lane, get their camp pushing in for the side of Full Meta Jacket, while ProBUs looking to steal some minions with possession and start a nice big push in the bottom lane with this siege camp. Although again, the rotation going to be there in time for Full Meta Jacket to just go ahead and clear that out. 10's coming in. Chromie, of course, had hers at level 8, but slowing sands for her. And then Counter Strike, Light Bomb, Blessed Shields, so no Falling Sword there, sorry NyQuil, as well as the Isolation. On the other side, Bunker, Horrify, Wailing Arrow, the Entomb, and currently holding for Ariel, but does end up selecting the Resurrect. Has been nerfed a bit, but a nice engage onto Anduin. The Blessed Shield does not hit Blaze, and Anduin is going to go down. That's going to be first blood for the blue team here, tying it up 1 kill to 1. But Souza now taking a ton of damage, using the Counter Strike, but not going to be able to get out. That's going to be dropping the sadism as runtime logic on Johanna also falls. Bunker coming in to protect the members who are getting a bit low there for the blue team. And they're going to use Sylvanas' trait and immediately start pushing in, and this is the power of Sylvanas. If you ever win anything, you can be so aggressive with her trait. And they're showing that off right now as they're going to go ahead and take the first fort in the game. Whew! ProBUs doing a great job playing around this here, and Barber needing to get saved by Anduin as 8-Bit finds a great jet propulsion onto them. As the offlaners just doing their thing. Actually, Lorik getting dragged a bit, but going to be able to heal it back up. As we do see Full Meta Jacket starting onto their Bruiser camp, looks like ProBUs is going to do the same here. Blaze actually soaking the bottom lane, going to try and get a little bit more XP. I don't know that we see ProBUs get a level 13 advantage here without any kills. Onto this Frozen Shrine, which will be starting any moment here for this second objective of the map. A nice little flank there from Aruba, gonna chunk Barber pretty heavily, but gonna be able to get healed up by Sergeant Scoops on the Anduin. And this time the lead on the Shrine is going over to the red team. They're already got 13 minions, as the blue team just now getting onto the Shrine. Looks like Dahaka clearing up the wave, as both teams kind of just hovering around, looking to get some minions. The poke is very good from Chromie, that's going to help them out a lot, as Souza looking to get some Show of Force stacks there. Blessed Shield comes out, Duck Rogers taking a lot of damage on the Gul'dan, gets taken out, the Bunker comes down, but the perma-stun was there. Resurrect is channeled, he's going to be back up in 3 seconds, the Secret Asian Man now getting a little bit low, and Gul'dan is going to be respawned immediately into the root, but a huge Horrify comes out onto the Alarak. Souza is going to go down, not before using Counter Strike though, and getting the counter kill onto Gul'dan. It's going to be 29 to 25, 30 to 25. But it does look like the red team is going to take yet another Punisher, as they're doing some really significant chunk onto the blue team. Great play from both teams. Level 13 did come in there for ProBUs, but it's not going to be in time to help them out and save the team fight there, as excellent play from Full Meta Jacket to go ahead and win that Shrine. Dahaka going to go ahead and come up here to help push in with this camp against Secret Asian Man, looking for potentially 2 forts as a result of this play, as the Frozen Punisher going to basically give a Sylvanas trait of its own to Full Meta Jacket as they're pushing in. So I would look to see them potentially take both the mid lane fort and the top fort, as Blaze getting pulled in by Souza and taken out. Another really nice play there from the Alarak player. And they're going to go ahead and, as expected, take that fort. So, and brutal, the follow-up onto this Punisher is just so good from Souza. I blinked for 1 second and Ariel was dead. Don't think they're going to go ahead and use the Resurrect there. It is available, but with only 20-second death timers and nothing really big up on the map, they're just going to go ahead and leave it up. so that they have that cooldown for a later time. But the red team going to use that opportunity to go ahead and just take everything on the map that they can. First invading the camp from the side of ProBUs, and then taking this neutral camp here. Chromie shifting a bit into the Q towns here with Gnome Speed ahead and shifting Sands, so looking to get some power onto her Qs as well. I'll be interested to see. I would imagine as a result they're going to go for the Piercing Sands onto the Shrine at level 18 here, the Storm talent for Chromie. But they're going to go ahead and push in, get a little bit of damage. As again, my dog sleeping. He's an old grumpy boy, and he snores. So apologies if you're hearing my dog in the background. Hopefully you are not. But I know I'm hearing him. He is loud. Both teams going to go ahead and just soak. It looks like level 16s should be here a bit earlier for the side of Full Meta Jacket, but both teams have been doing a really good job about keeping up in XP. You can go ahead and look at the XP here. Dahaka and Leoric both soaking a ton for their teams, as well as the rest of the teams doing a good job. Looks like Mercenaries a lot in favor here for the red team, but Minions as well as a bit of passive making up for it on the side of ProBUs. As we do see level 16s come in. Holy Renewal. Normally you might see Fanaticism there to pair in with Hold Your Ground, but as we do have a bit of a blind build for Johanna, makes sense. Tunneling Claws coming in for the Dahaka, being able to escape from, or potentially just save themselves from something like an Entomb there, as well as the Light Well, looking for some additional sustain onto the Shrine. Lethal Onslaught, something I don't see a lot, but gonna let Souza have some really powerful basic attacks. Hoping to get some more stacks onto the right of Rek'Shir as a result. On the other side, we do have Thermal Protection, going to be some nice armor there for Blaze, going to help him a lot, as well as an enormous power spike for Gul'dan, who is sitting at a 35 out of 40 on the Echoed Corruption there. He's going to get Ruinous Affliction at level 16, which is an enormous power spike, as well as Leoric finishing his Wraithwalk build, so both teams with really powerful tools at 16. It'll be interesting to see how that affects this Shrine, although to be noted, the fort is down here for the blue team but not for the red team, which means that there is going to be an advantage in the wells, as well as a little bit of a retreat point there. Blessed Shield though, immediately whiffing, although Blaze taking an enormous amount of damage. In response, the Light Bomb coming out to try and stop the Horrify and Tomb combination there, but it's coming out regardless. Souza taking a lot of damage, and the healer in Anduin following for the side of Full Meta Jacket. Runtime logic on Johanna also getting very low, and that's going to be a double kill as Ariel using the Searing Light at level 1 to kill the Alrek there, resetting his sadism. And that was a very quick turnaround for ProBUs. Gonna get the 3 kills and looking to push in, it looks like, while they have Leoric go ahead and take the Shrine there. Chromie being forced back. Level 18 will be here very soon, which means Chromie has her Storm talent, but she's going to go ahead and back up to make sure that she isn't getting taken out here by the remaining members of ProBUs, as Dahaka going to go ahead and soak bottom, maybe look for that bottom fort to get an advantage there, but in response, we're just seeing the blue team say, alright, we'll just push in even more. We're going to get this objective no matter what, and it's an Arcane Punisher. But they've opened this up, which means if they get even more kills here, this could potentially be looking at game, as they've got a full health Punisher pushing directly into the keep here. And that is going to be seriously dangerous. That is... Granted, there are some really good tools here defensively for the side of Full Meta Jacket. As I mentioned, the Piercing Sands here, an enormous power spike for Barber on the Chromie. And they do have all of their ultimate abilities back up if they're able to get a better engage. Of course, the Whiff Blast Shield did hurt them a lot, and they might be able to do a bit better here. But Sylvanas locking down the fort with her trait, gonna make it a lot harder on Full Meta Jacket, as a 3-man stun followed up by the Blaze, but a nice pull from Sergeant Scoop's gonna go ahead and save Johanna. Looks like we're going to see Secret Asian Man taking a lot of damage from the Alarak combo, the Counter-Strike doing a ton of damage as well. But the keep is going to end up going down. But looking at this side of ProBUs, they're all very low. A huge Wailing Arrow and Dago combo coming out, going to end up finishing off Souza on the Alarak. Huge damage coming out from the side of Aruba on the Sylvanas. But really, if you look at the numbers, huge damage also coming out from Gul'dan. Hard to tell when you've got two dot heroes on the same team. They're going to take 15% off of the core of Full Meta Jacket there, but that is going to be it, as the one kill was enough to dissuade them. So a solid defense there from Full Meta Jacket. They are going to be able to make it to 20, but that being said, so is the blue team, and there are some seriously dangerous level 20s. Of course, you are going to have the Silencing Entomb buried alive for Leoric. Lots of potential danger there. Although you must note, the siege camps picked up in the bottom and mid lane for Full Meta Jacket did manage to push in and get the bottom fort and some damage into the mid wall. So this next objective, there will be pressure in favor of ProBUs in the top lane, but both teams have the potential to end here, and it looks like Secret Asian Man is looking for an Entomb here as they get level 20s. They've got the Shield of Hope, they've got the Wailing Arrow upgrade, Haunt for Gul'dan, Indestructible picked for Johanna, but it's not going to be enough as she gets cut off, not even inside the Entomb. The Entomb used really excellently there to block her off from her route of escape, and not able to do anything from the side of Full Meta Jacket. We do see Contagion here, very powerful for Dahaka. We've got Varian's Legacy, Deadly Charge, the second ultimate for Alarak, and of course Piercing Sands, as already mentioned. ProBUs looking to come in to steal this camp while they're up a man, but not in time. We'll have to see if they try to punish. They're not, though, as Full Meta Jacket going to go ahead and clear up here. And it looks like we're going to see ProBUs go ahead and just say, alright, next objective is going to be bottom. You can see it on the map, going to be a mortar. They're just going to grab this camp and start pushing in with Sylvanas. As they do see Chromie still there in the top lane. Looks like Full Meta Jacket just rotating as a 4-man between top and mid, not willing to take a fight until Johanna is back, as she just now is respawning. One thing that I will say is with Bold Strategy and Varian's Legacy, Anduin's Healing is going to spike a lot at level 20 here. Going to help a lot when you have the... going to help a lot against the dot damage here from ProBUs. But granted, there is the Silence Entomb, and some might argue the double pull might have been better there. So we'll have to see if it's going to work out or not. I personally, I think since he did elect for Bold Strategy at 1, that is the best option here. And the Bruiser camp taken for extra pressure in the top lane, so looking for the passive pressure, but it might not be worth much if they give the entire shrine over, as already 15 minions here again. Full Meta Jacket just continuously being onto this objective earlier, and that's something that throughout this series, the team that's gotten to the objective earlier has done a bit better. A huge pull into the Light Bomb, huge onto Ariel, going to immediately use her Resurrect, but Leoric also getting low, and she's going to be resurrecting in the middle of the team, going to use the whip to get Juggerab away. But it's 30 Shrine minions in favor of the red team. That being said, there's 3 catapults and the Bruiser camp pushing in here. It's going to start taking down the shields pretty soon. They're going to have a Punisher, but they can't really push with it, and they are going to send Dahaka back. Dahaka, I believe, does have his global up, though. So that is something that is key, because that means I'm wrong. They can push in with it. Yes, Valkymer, we do have an actual cast. It didn't get canceled. Unfortunately, it did get postponed 30 minutes, so the second cast I was going to do tonight, I'm going to have to do another time by replay. But hey, we've got a cast. It's going good. Punisher jumping, not quite followed up, as Dahaka did not quite get back in time. The red team did stop to take another siege camp to push in mid, but we're going to have to see if that's going to pay out for them, as the Punisher already chunked down to a third. That being said, Lulu, insanely low, uses the Shield of Hope just in time. A huge combo coming out from Sylvanas, but it's not going to matter as 3 fall with the Deadly Charge from Alarak. Ariel, Gul'dan, and Leoric all down. Resurrect is up, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, as we are seeing the team of Full Meta Jacket pushing as a 5-man onto this core. Granted, Aruba does have a lot of damage potential to try and deny this. Leoric will be up pretty soon, but look in the middle lane. There's a huge wave pushing in here, and the core is falling super quickly, as is. Resurrect comes out, but I think it's a little bit too late, as the core is falling, and that is going to be game 2 going over to Full Meta Jacket, tying up the series. Oh boy. That was back and forth, to say the least. 9 kills to 10, so a very close map, but I think consistently the fact that Full Meta Jacket was always on the shrine as it was spawning really helped them a lot. The one shrine they actually lost was the one where they weren't on top of it when it spawned, where we did see ProBUs take the position initially. Ariel did get some value. Thank you for the follow, WO521. There was definitely some value from the Resurrect, but I feel like it was used a little bit less than maybe I would have liked to see. I think it could have been used to set up, or I would have liked to see maybe more aggressive play with the Entomb earlier in the game, looking for Entomb into Horrify combos to try and just get those picks, because if it goes poorly, you just resurrect the person who dies. If it goes well, great, you got a kill. I think a bit more aggression with the Sylvanas like we saw in the last game, and we might have seen a 2-0 in favor of ProBUs. That being said, the play from the Alarak was amazing from the side of Souza. So very, very well played from both teams here. It'll be interesting to see who goes ahead and takes it in the next game, as we should hopefully have that being decided pretty soon here. Hello, Alden0. I imagine I'm probably acquainted with you, but not recognizing the username. I'm certain it's probably another username that is used in other places, but can go ahead and give this. This is our overview so far for the series. If you look, we do see that ProBUs was the map pick for the past 2, so if they elect to take first pick here, I'll be interested to see if that secures them the 3rd win. Pro tip, Barber is not in charge of scouting for Full Meta Jacket. He wipes the monitors and oils the mice. Thank you for the tip. I'll write that down. Make sure to use it in my future casts. Go ahead and give you a look at my dog. Zzz, I guess dogs, but really the one you can see when I'm normally sitting here is the loud one. He's the one who snores. Yeah, hi. Hi. You want to hop up in my lap? You want to say hi? Ugh. Oh, they want to get their dinner, because it's almost dinner time for them. Ah, Osprey. All right. Nice to see you here, Osprey. Thanks for coming out. Should hopefully be getting the info here. Let me ping. Alright, looks like they just DM'd each other. I'll go ahead and jump in here. I know what our next map is. I'm not sure who picked it. Okay, it was... So we did have the choice here of first pick for ProBUs, and Full Meta Jacket gonna go ahead and take us to my favorite map. Very controversial, but my favorite map. We got Sky Temple, boys. Very, very unfrequently seen, but I love it a lot. It's really enjoyable. Especially, I just like the visuals of it, honestly. The visuals and the objective I enjoy a lot. I know the gameplay isn't super huge for a lot of people, but I enjoy it. Oh, was I muted for a second? My apologies. I do not know why I was muted. Now the ladies can all come to the stream and appreciate Hydra's bed. It is true. They can come and appreciate my clean and well-made bed. Looks better when there's dogs on it because you can't see that it's all wrinkled. But now they're all on the ground because they want their dinner. Alright, but yeah, we got Sky Temple. I'm excited. I love this map. It does lead to some linear play, as in case people in the chat are not aware, it normally is basically whichever team is able to go ahead and get the lead in macro, in structures taken down, is generally the team that's able to win, because you can just play safe. You can just trade objectives and be happy with it. So, because if you're just trading structures, trading objectives, you'll always come out ahead. As we're jumping in, apparently. Alright, here we are. So Sky Temple, we're going to see some very different priorities here, I think. You want a lot of macro pressure here. I think the Sylvanas has to be addressed, because regardless of if it lost last game, it was super powerful, both in Game 1 and Game 2. I feel like that has to be addressed here, especially since we see the second pick here from Full Minute Jacket. But with the Deathwing that they're afraid of, maybe we don't. Who knows? Again, we do have ETC banned out. Valkymer, you're correct. I'm wearing a beanie because I have sensitive ears. So my headphones start to hurt my ears if I don't wear a beanie most of the time. To contain the hair. Yeah, that's true as well. You should see it. You should see after I shower here. It is so humid here in Michigan. It looks like I have an afro after I shower. Alright, but we're going to see the Johanna ban. Makes sense. It was the winning hero for both Game 1 and Game 2, so they're going to go ahead and take it out. They're like, alright, we don't want you getting it because as far as trends go, that's the hero who wins the series. We're going to see Falstad taken out. Really makes sense here. Globals are... This is one of the strongest maps for global heroes, and Falstad in general is super powerful, able to take camps to get that macro pressure, able to hold his own on objectives thanks to the self-sustain he gets at level 4. He's really just he fits into a lot of roles that you need for this map. And we're going to see the Deathwing ban for the last ban. So Zool up for the first time this series. I'm just saying, we're going to see some Necromancer in Game 3. We saw it banned out by ProBUs the first 2 games. Are they going to first pick it? No. They prioritized the Sylvanas for Aruba. And that's fair. That's fair. It was insanely effective in the past 2 games. But if they're banning out the Zool, and now it's up, are we going to see it picked for Juggarob? Is he up to date with his Zool? Or is it going to be a secret last pick? No, we're seeing the Dahaka prioritized again, as well as the Anduin, and I think that makes sense. Both of those heroes were played excellently last game and got a lot of value, especially some clutch pulls from Sergeant Scoops, which helped to save the game. I feel like this game you're going to hear my dogs a lot, is now they want their dinner. They want their meal. I can't say that. Oh. All right. Someone brought him food. Someone's a good person. All right, but we got a Nubrek and Greymane here. We got a this is a classic. A Nubrek Greymane used since the dawn of time on this map. Thanks to the beetles and the siege pressure from Greymane, it allows you to just get ahead in that siege. And both really just solid for the map otherwise as well. So I really like to see that from ProBUs here. They've shown that they are ready to adapt to the map. They're ready to adapt to bans, as we see Deckard banned out here. Another good ban. But yeah, I love it. This is exactly what I like to see. That being said, let me start the poll here. Go ahead and give it 3 minutes for people to vote this time. Who wins? As we see Vala banned out, interestingly enough. So not wanting to deal with the potential burst here onto the squishy Anubarak. Shout out to Hydra's mom. It's actually not my mom. I have the dogs in here because my parents are currently out of town. That was my sister. Shout outs to my mom as well, though. Shout outs to my mom and my sister. They are both good people. And we're going to see Lunara again for Souza. Was played in the first game. Wasn't super effective, but I think it can definitely work out in this composition, as well as Barber taking the Thrall. So going for the melee heavy composition here. I love me a good 4-man Thrall, but I'm not sure if they can pull out the Crash Lightning here. So likely going to be a more standard Thrall build, just happening to be with the rest of the group. And it is the Zool. We got it, boys. Secret Asian man saying, why were we banning this? They let it all the way through draft. He picks it up, and as well as the Rhaegar. So that is 2 heroes with extremely powerful macro pressure. And the newly updated Zool has some serious teamfight potential as well. So I will be very interested to see what kind of things we see here. Is we've got now a bit of a pick comp more for ProBUs, with the potential to cocoon one person, put a cage onto another, and just finish people off. Murden the last pick here in favor of runtime logic. I gotta say, I like both these teams, but I gotta go for ProBUs' draft this game. They've got the Zool, they've got the Nubarak Greymane, they've got the Rhaegar. Like, I love playing all the heroes on their team. Okay, I haven't played Zool recently, but I love Zool. I love all of them except for Sylvanas. Sylvanas is Sylvanas doesn't click with me, but I just love their comp. I think they've got great macro pressure. They've got the potential for making really aggressive plays, getting picks onto people here. In this third and final game on Sky Temple. A wonderful map here. We're going to see who takes it. One moment. Oh, let me pick this up. One of my dogs is dumb and doesn't like to eat, so I gotta pick up his food so that the other dog doesn't eat it. But we're gonna go ahead and, looking like we already got the blue team looking to go to the top, as we have for the side of ProBUs, 8-bit on Anubarak, Duck Rogers on Greymane, Lulu on Rhaegar, double dog action there, Aruba on Sylvanas, and Secret Asian Man playing the coveted Zool. Against them, looking to complete the reverse sweep, is Full Meta Jacket with runtime logic on Murden, Sergeant Scoops on Anduin, Lunara played by Souza, Barber on the Thrall, and Dahaka played again by Juggerob. Seeing some cheese here, thanks to the talents. We actually have even the full Beetle level 1 committed to here by 8-bit. So really, really going to try and push the agenda here. Even Wolf build starting out for Rhaegar. So they're looking to rotate and take all kinds of structures. And it looks like they're looking to pressure up against Juggerop to start with. Azul is just going to be able to double soak safely. Even just waiting out to see the red team start rotating away. The drag does connect, though, onto Duck Rogers. And it looks like that's actually going to be first blood. Wonderful play here from Juggerog, punishing the aggression a little bit, but if you look, these 2 towers are already basically gone. One thing I will say, I would have liked to see maybe a bit of an adaptation into a Q build here for Sylvanas, as with this kind of playstyle, with the quick rotations and the just looking for siege and then running away, I would have liked to see that, as it's going to be a bit harder for her to get some stacks. But given how well it was played, I won't complain. And we are seeing again the Echo of the Elements for Thrall. As well as the bold strategy for Anduin. So again, looking for a bit more of an auto attack focus as an early bruiser camp. And it looks like just the priority onto this top lane is going to be immediate. I like that because knowing that the top objective, as well as the middle objective, will always be the first rotation here on this map. By pushing in here early, you not only give Zool the opportunity to abuse the fact that he can double soak, you're also setting up to potentially get a fort with the first objective, if not even earlier. And they're going to start with a the entire front wall to start that out. So looking really good here from the side of ProBUs. His Thrall not quite able to match Secret Asian Man, even with the help of this siege camp. That did get picked up there for full meta jacket. 2 minutes 30 means it's time for the objectives to start counting down to spawn. Looks like 8-Bit looking for a little bit of aggression, but he's actually going to be all on his own, going to have to back off after getting chunked really heavily. Probably needed to back for mana anyway though, so that's going to be alright for them. As we've got 13 stacks in here for the Echo of the Elements on Thrall. Doing pretty well so far. As well as the Jailers here at level 4, the second talent tier. So doing looking for kind of a target onto one person and just blow that person up. I'll be interested to see if we see the Cursed Bullet to try and take out Dahaka and Muradin a bit more, or if we see the Go for the Throat to focus onto Lunara, who's more or less the hyper carry for the side of full meta jacket. Both teams just going to go ahead and focus onto the objective here. And it looks like it is going to be a trade, but as I mentioned earlier, thanks to the fact that they took out the front wall, full meta jacket is just now getting the mid wall and a turret off of the mid fort for ProBUs, but ProBUs already has the entire top fort and was able to get pretty strong damage, taking out the entire front wall of the mid lane here. So they are far, far ahead in the siege game, which is all that Sky Temple is about. So we'll have to see how they capitalize on it, as pushing in a little bit will become harder and harder as the late game approaches and all of these forts come down, because you will have to extend further and further away from your own structures. That being said, already some aggressive positioning, but a nice route onto 8-Bit is going to get them really chunked. Well played there by Barber, ensuring that they were able to punish 8-Bit for kind of looking for that aggression all on their own. So we're going to go ahead and see, this time we've got Skullcracker, a talent that I personally love because it can just get you those real easy storm bolts with the little micro stun to set it up, as well as still doing really strong damage onto your target of choice. Otherwise, build's looking very similar to what we've seen for the last few games. We do have the Subterranean Shield as well as the Bed of Barbs here. So a bit old-fashioned Nubrak build, but definitely strong for the composition that they're running. Going to look to be aggressive and to get those picks as well as to siege, and that is something that that kind of build can do very well. As my dogs are now looking at each other underneath my table here. Zul, though, showing off his newly acquired team fight potential, as he is really doing well against Juggerov there in the off lane. Able to get him there with the Jailers and get some decent damage. 8-Bit, though, looking for the gank, and Sergeant Scoops is going to go down. Runtime logic getting pretty low as well, going to have to jump out. Souza trying to poke onto the team, but not really able to do enough. Lunara needs to be allowed to scale into the late game, and right now the early game push pressure from ProBUs is just so oppressive, with possession, with a Nubrak, with Sylvanas' trait, with Greymane's insane structure damage. They are just pushing in hard. But I think this is where we're likely to see a bit of a comeback starting for full meta jacket if they're going to get anything here. Of course, first they need to get 10s, but they're going to go ahead and pressure onto 8-Bit. We do see Go for the Throat here, as well as Ancestral Healing, Wailing Arrow, and the Cocoon, as you would expect. A bit of a gank coming out onto Secret Asian Man. Are they going to be able to finish him? He seems to have just kind of accepted his death. He's going to try and get them to chase him, which is going to allow the blue team to just get some free shots onto this objective. Going to take half of it for free at least, as 10s are secured for the red team. They're going to go for Earthquake, Isolation, the Avatar for Muradin, the Thornwood Vine this time, so a bit more poke focus for Lunara. Ooh, the Ancestral barely late onto the Nubrak, and of course Light Bomb again. So some interesting choices here. I'll be interested to see, do they just throw the Light Bomb onto Muradin and have him Dwarf Toss in, or what exactly are we going to see? Valkymer calling out his preference for zoning Stormbolts as opposed to the Skullcracker setup for easy Stormbolts. We'll see what works. He's gotten some nice zoning Stormbolts so far this game. We'll have to see how we're able to see Runtime Logic do. As interesting, we've got a boss play starting out, gonna get it scouted by 8-Bit, and it looks like they are gonna leash it as a result. But interesting, looking for an aggressive play, and that is something that, while it seems definitely early for an aggressive play, I like to see it here from the side of Full Meta Jacket, as the boss is the #1 comeback potential on this map. If they were able to get that sneaked, that would have helped them a lot, as Secret Asian Man actually taking a good bit of damage as Barber was sitting in the bush there. Gonna chunk them even further with the Ancestral Wrath, I believe it is at 7. Yes, Ancestral Wrath. We've got Ancestral Healing and Ancestral Wrath in the same game. Cocoon coming out onto Muradin, as well as Earthquake for Barber. Looks like it was probably queued up before he got pulled, but gonna just be used for a disengage as both teams walk away. Tools used, but the blue team already looking for more pressure as Secret Asian Man is getting ganked, but that's a 4v5. Dahaka isn't quite there yet. The Light Bomb comes out onto Barber, gonna only stun 1 on, and Lulu gonna have to use the Ancestral onto herself. Dahaka still not burrowing in, as Runtime Logic starting to get low. Looks like he's going to fall here as the Go for the Throat comes out, as well as the Bone Prison. Souza and Sergeant Scoops both getting very low, but they're gonna be able to escape. It's a 1-0, and level 13 talents unlocked for the blue team. Dahaka opting not to come in. Granted, not the best bushes, but I could have seen him coming in here or here. That being said, though, with the 1-person lead as well as the level 13 talents, that's going to be a boss play here for ProBUs, and it's just going to be free before the objective even spawns. Sylvanas and Greymane together burning it down insanely quickly. I would note we have an interesting kind of hybrid build here. Only going for the Wolf Town at level 1 for Lulu on the Rhaegar, but it has been working out very well for them so far. And this is the point where if you're Full Meta Jacket, you have to kind of look for a fight after you clear this boss, but they're to the point where they are down to 0 forts while the enemy team has all of their forts still intact and is currently channeling both the bottom objective and looking to potentially channel as Secret Asian Man dodging the isolation from Juggerab. Looks like Full Meta Jacket is going to commit to the top objective. Gonna maybe try to punish Secret Asian Man for sticking around too long. As Secret Asian Man does opt for the Tragul's Essence at 7 for a little bit of self-sustain there from the skeletal attacks, the skeletal mages, and the Echoes of Death. 8-Bit using the Beetles as they see the entire enemy team top. Comes in with Duck Rogers. They're going to just push into this keep and get the first keep of the game. Important that it's in the boss lane as well, so that's going to be really a potential ending position as soon as the boss comes up next, which is going to be in 3.5 minutes. So really limiting the amount of time that Full Meta Jacket has to come back into this game. Secret Asian Man looking to trade onto Juggerab a little bit. Not much going to come of it. As at this point, we see Full Meta Jacket just sitting back, trying to soak up. They don't want to fight because they know that there's going to be level 16 talents here very soon for ProBUs. And it looks like Runtime Logic getting engaged on Barber, using Earthquake, and maybe they do want to fight. They're down 16, but they're not afraid. And it looks like maybe for good reason as they get Duck Rogers super low, Ancestral perfectly timed, but 8-Bit now falling. As that is going to be Dahaka using the global to come in. Lulu gets hit by the isolation, going to try and use the Wolf Run to get out, but they are very low. Using the shield to try and save themselves super low, and the dot from Lunara is going to be enough. It's going to be 2 kills for nothing. Down the 16 talent tiers, but using the global very effectively. Looks like they're going to finally get their first fort of the game as Dahaka goes off to soak. They're going to push in actually onto the Bruiser camp here on the side of ProBUs. We've got Bronzebeard's Rage coming in for Muradin, so a bit more of a bruisery build. So focusing on trying to get in some damage and get some kills, which has worked for them so far. As we see, they are 5-2 in kills, but they are very far behind. Almost 3 entire forts now, or 2 forts into keep. That being said, it is a single objective phase, so there is likely to be a team fight here over it. And so far the team fights have been very strong for the side of Full Metal Jacket. Looking for aggression already onto Secret Asian Man, saying, Zool, you might have gotten a health buff, but you're still squishy. We're going to kill you as soon as we're able to. Barber gets dropped, though, as the cocoon onto Murden is going to be enough to get the kill there. It's going to be 1 for 1, although all ultimate abilities looks like used for the blue team during that fight. And now Sylvanas just used her Haunting Wave and getting killed as punishment. Can't use your escape when we're right there, says Full Meta Jacket. Oh, my brain had one of those moments where suddenly a word just stops working in your head and you're like, is that really a word in the English language? It sounds like gibberish. And had to remember that jacket is indeed a word here, but the objective going to be channeled here for the side of Full Meta Jacket. They're 7-3 in kills now, and they're looking pretty strong. They are still down in structures, but if they're able to keep controlling the pace of this game, there's definitely some good potential. But you can't ignore the fact that we do have the blue team, looks like, pushing in the lane in top, potentially looking for some aggression onto this Dahaka if he shows himself in the mid lane, or onto the front wall here at the keep, and it looks like it is going to be the latter. The lead here for ProBUs reduced to just about the 1 keep. As there looks like they're just going to be happy to push in the waves and then back. Juggernaut potentially looking for an invade onto the siege camp, as they know that there were just some members in the top lane. Going to commit to it. Go ahead and steal that camp away and start a really strong push here, although Susan needs to be careful. And really all of Full Meta Jacket needs to be careful, because if they are caught out, this is the throw bridge. That being said, level 16s are in. We have Epicenter, huge spike here for 8-bit on the Anubrak. We've got Weaken, so looking for the reduced damage to try and help against the very strong picks that have been coming out. That being said, though, seeing the entire enemy team, the red team's going to be happy to just go ahead and start this boss. They know that this is a very strong win condition for ProBUs, and so they're going to use Lunara's Great Race with the Nature's Calling there and take a boss. That being said, I feel like I've said that being said quite a bit, but Runtime Logic looking for a potential engage, not going to find it, and Juggerab just chilling. I've loved how we've seen Juggerab and Full Meta Jacket take advantage of the global, both in the previous game and in this game. It allowed them to end in the last game, and it's allowing them to be much more aggressive on the map while not risking losing anything so far during this game. Also letting them secure some really crucial picks. That being said, it looks like they're not too eager to fight. They kind of just want to even up the siege damage here, as Dahaka even going ahead and soloing this Bruiser camp. Feeding Frenzy at 7 going to help out a lot with that, just getting a bit of extra damage. And they're going to go ahead and say, hey, we got a little bit of damage. If we can now control these 2 objectives, soak up level 20, which is very close for both teams, actually still a bit closer even for the side of ProBUs. But they're thinking we'll be alright, as they are actually going to get 21st. Because everything I say is caster cursed. So looks like objective's just going to go ahead and potentially be claimed. Murden sitting alone on mid while we have 4 members top. Interesting. I would have expected them to split off Juggerab from the group so that he could potentially use the global to join the team, as they're going to go ahead and back off from the top one here. Epicenter going to get the stun onto Barber as the 20s are here. I should flip to that. But Dahaka going to get picked off. Don't think he was even able to pop the essence there. Cocoon goes on to the Thrall. Rewind coming in for a Nubrak, letting him do a lot. Avatar not going to save Runtime Logic, and that's a 2-for-0 trade. Despite the 20s coming in first for the red team, the split there allows the 2 picks to come out, and that's now going to be potentially 2 objectives coming in for ProBUs. Or maybe they're just going to end. Both of the front line down on the side of Full Meta Jacket, and they're looking to take advantage of it and push to end. Greymane currently the top damage for the blue team, although Lunara holding the top damage in the game, doing a good job as the hyper carry. Susan's been doing great all series. But this is the biggest moment, as tons of poke coming out from Souza, but the damage is also coming out onto them, and lots of core damage here as a result of Sylvanas, but the Grey Mane being the main one, and he is already down. Sylvanas trying to do what she can. Core is down to 20, but Sylvanas is about to fall. Rhaegar getting low. It's just Zool on the core, down to 5%, 2%! And the final skeletal minion explosion secures the core. Woo! I thought it was an easy end, and then I saw the poke coming out from Lunara, and I started getting excited. I thought Full Meta Jacket for sure was going to turn it around then. But the skeletal minion, the skeletal warrior from Zool finishes it off. Oh, man. Oh, I almost feel bad because I know that the Zool... Oh, because for those of you who don't know, Zool right now, with his rework, is bugged. So when his skeletal warriors die, they do a small amount of explosion damage. And right now it's bugged, so it applies that damage twice. Which I think was the only reason ProBUs was able to end there. Was because that final skeletal warrior exploded with the double damage. Oh my goodness. Well, Zool is bugged, but he is not banned, which means this is a fair win for ProBUs. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get an interview with one of their members. Give me one moment here. I gotta get set up here any moment. One moment. We should have any moment now a member from ProBUs.
Hello.
Hello, we're joined now by 8-Bit. You've got to be feeling good after that series. That was an insane core call at the end. I thought you guys had it because both of the front line were down, but Souza was putting out some insane damage on the Lunara. How are you guys feeling?
I'll be real. It's a little anxious. I think my soul laner once that final core, that dot ticked off the core and we won the game, he just started screaming, "I hate you! I hate you! I hate you!"
So tell me more. Why does he hate you for that?
I guess I've developed a little bit of a rep at times for keeping these games maybe a little bit more interesting than they need to be. Certainly a 5-man wipe is I don't even know what it was, either a dot or a minion getting the last hit. That's a pretty intense way to finish a match, and I guess I've been given one too many of those over the years.
Yeah, I was just talking to Chad about it. So with the recent Zool rework, of course, his little skeletal warriors, when they do die, have those explosions, and I believe that was what finished off the core. Currently, actually, there's a bit of a bugged interaction where I think the explosions are doing double damage, but hey, Zool's not banned, and it won you guys the game, so really well played there. I loved the composition you guys pulled off, but let's go back to game one. So you guys ended up getting map pick, and you ended up going for Altrex. Was that a comfort map for you guys? What was the thought behind there?
The thought behind there was that going into the draft, we kind of had the sense that Zool was a tad OP, and without having first pick priority, we didn't want to put ourselves in a position where he could get onto a map where he could have dual soak potential. We ultimately decided to ban him rather than run with him, but that we did that at the cost of some other ban priorities that we might have under non-patch day conditions possibly put higher. So really in terms of the map pool, comfort picks, we're sort of at a stage now where they're all sort of comfort picks. So selecting one over another more comes down to stylistically what we're feeling to run on a given day in terms of compositions.
Definitely. So looking at compositions. That being said, so you guys went for Deckard Cain on first map, and he's definitely a hero who is not seen a lot of play recently, but really worked out for you guys. So was there a specific reason behind it for that first game, or is that just a bit of a niche hero that you guys are comfortable with?
We saw an opportunity there where we could put together some sleep into ring combos. So, Deckard was not the plan at the onset. We weren't walking in there thinking Deckard's our guy. We just kind of saw an opportunity in draft where we were able to grab the two heroes together, which also fortunately kind of synergized with what we had already grabbed. So it was a little bit of a flex mid draft, but I think I'm ultimately happy with how it worked out. Lulu and Duck really made that work perfect with their comms and how they overlaid those ults.
Definitely. So moving on to game two, after taking the first map pretty dominantly, I would say I felt like there wasn't too much back and forth on that one. The second map was a bit shakier. I think you both teams played extremely well, but I kind of want to talk about what was your mentality at the end of game two, and I guess going into game three. How was it feeling? Were you guys confident? Did you have specific thing in mind, or what was the thoughts there?
I'd say overall I felt confident with it. It was a little bit more of an equal bout. It wasn't as straightforward one way or the other. And I kind of recognized that last shrine there with the positioning of it had the potential to be game winning for either side. And when an enemy has a hero like Alarak, one good combo is basically going to be game changing for them. And of course, we were unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end of one of those combos. So, it was more just like a thing that had happened to us, but we kind of made a mental check. Said, okay, if be conscious of our positioning. Don't get three-man discorded by Alarak, and we can still take this. We can still win maps.
Definitely. So talking about power picks, something that was interesting to me was the Sylvanas being let through all three games. So you guys seemed very comfortable playing around it. So what was your thoughts during the bans? Do you think that we're at a point where there's too many kind of meta bans, the Deathwing, the Zool, or do you think that they kind of, I guess, weren't really playing to or adjusting by letting that Sylvanas through all three games?
I know Juggerab over there. I've faced him before, and I know that he's a guy that does his homework. So the Sylvanas is a nice pick that we oftentimes get to enjoy because ProBUs has kind of made a name for themselves on some other heroes. We've sort of shown people what we can do with our Deathwing and other power picks. So it didn't surprise me that the Sylvanas was let through just because we have a couple of those things in our repertoire that we're able to leverage, and it's just a matter of which ones the enemies are willing to give us on a given day.
Definitely. So to finish off here, before I give you just time for shoutouts, I always ask this at the end of a series. If you had to give the MVP to a player, could be you, could be anyone on your team or on the other team, who would you give the MVP for the series to?
Ooh, MVP for the series. That's a tough call. I'll say I'm gonna give it a toss-up here between Aruba and Secret Asian Man, who is flexing a little bit on his solo lane here. He's been a DPS main for us in previous matches, and really kind of showed off his map awareness, his spatial awareness, and his capabilities as a frontliner. And then Aruba just on so many levels today really kind of stepped up, and I really felt that he was a terror on that Sylvanas, and put a lot of pressure onto the enemy team at pretty much all phases of the game. So it may be cheating to pick two, but I'm gonna pick those two because I think they both played equally well tonight.
Definitely, I think I no cheating. That was I think both played well. I think everyone played excellently. But I'll go ahead and round it off. I'll give you the floor. If you have any shout outs for anyone else, go ahead. Time's yours.
Huge shout out to Juggerod and all of the great guys over there at FMJ. That they've been pals of ours. They've been scrim partners for us in the past. Love playing against them. Love to kind of see how they're developing with some of the new members that they're bringing into the squad. They're really looking stronger and stronger each week. Huge shout out to the probes tonight, the probes who joined us tonight, Duck, Lulu, Aruba, and of course Secret Asian Man. We're playing this season with a little bit more of a fun bent to us, with a big roster, including lots of friends of ours that we don't normally get to see, and it's really exciting to see these people who aren't always part of our core roster stepping in and really performing at a top level. Shout out to Heroes Lounge for putting this all together and just giving us a great forum to enjoy the game that we love. And big shout out to you, Lazy Hydra. Oh, and final shout out to my wife who's just woken from her nap. Hi, sweetie, I love you.
All right, well, thank you. It was a wonderful series. I had a blast casting it. I'll go ahead and leave you to spend the rest of your night celebrating in whatever way you will. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, and that's going to be it. I'm going to pop back here to the match summary because I realized I did not show the talents. There they are. View them with your heart's content. Pause the game if you even want, because I'm not going to linger too long, because that's going to be it for me for the evening. I'm tired. I'm split in half. Really great series, though. I had a great time casting it. Thank you, Barbs, coming in, or our Barbs coming in with the follow during the interview there. I'm gonna go ahead and sign out, or sign off. Thank you, everyone who came in. Oh, we've got another follow from Lulu. Lulu, the captain of many teams, coming in with the follow. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Let me see if Bahamut or someone is still streaming right now who we can go ahead and raid. It does look like Bahamut is still streaming, I believe. Let me go ahead and check. Looks like he might be done right now. No, he's still got a game. All right, sweet. We're gonna go ahead and raid Bahamut. Thank you, everyone who came to watch. Hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna go ahead and catch you all later. See you later. I said later twice.